We're often taught that the serpent in Genesis 3 was just a snake. For centuries, pictures and stories have shown Eve talking to a reptile. But Scripture tells us more. In Revelation 12, Satan is called that old serpent. This connects us with the very first mention of the serpent way back in Genesis, the first book of the Bible. And the Hebrew word translated serpent is nachash, meaning the shining one. It can describe something that gleams like brass, or even a supernatural being. This matches how Paul describes the tempter in 2 Corinthians 11:14. Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Eve wasn't speaking with a mere animal. She was confronted by a glorious, shining being. Ezekiel 28 gives us the same picture. It speaks of one in Eden called a cherub, perfect in beauty until pride and sin were found in him. That's Satan. God's curse in Genesis 3 said, "On your belly you will go, and dust you will eat." In the Bible, that language is not about a snake losing its legs. It's a picture of humiliation and defeat, like Isaiah 25:12, where the lofty city is brought down to the dust, and Micah 7:17, where enemies lick the dust like a serpent. And then came the prophetic promise from God, "He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." This isn't about a snake striking at someone's foot. It points to the greater conflict between Satan and the promised seed. The serpent would wound Christ at the cross, but in that very act, Christ crushed his head and sealed his doom. The biblical evidence is clear. The serpent in Genesis was not a snake, but a divine being to whom Eve showed deference because he belonged to a superior order, not the inferior order of mere animals. The testimony of Scripture is clear. The serpent of Genesis was defeated by the cross of Christ, and in due time he will be cast into the lake of fire. We can rest assured on this promise, for as Scripture proclaims, "The God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet."